Jean-Marie Mokoko is back in prison after a year in hospital. The army general and opponent of Congolese President Denis Sassou Nguesso was in 2018 jailed for 20 years for treason. Mokoko's lawyer said military police picked him from the army hospital where he was receiving treatment and drove him to a prison in Brazzaville, Congo's capital. He said the former army chief was still undergoing physiotherapy treatment by doctors. In 2016, Mokoko contested for president and lost to Nguesso. He denounced his re-election as illegitimate and was arrested for undermining state security. Last August, he was evacuated to Turkey for further medical care. On his return, he was admitted at the army hospital. South Africa is among a number of African countries which have been red-listed by the United Kingdom, meaning travel between the countries is suspended. But in a recent discussion, the Department of Health and the UK High Commission put forward the latest trends around COVID-19, as well as the country's vaccination program. However, South Africans will have to wait a little longer before travelling freely to the UK.
I think we're delighted that the UK High Commission has engaged with the South Africans and the UK government has engaged with the South African scientists and medical professionals. And that dialogue has been really constructive. And we feel heard, we feel engaged with, and we feel that at last there has been a proper understanding of the capabilities in South Africa. And we're delighted to hear that it's very likely that South Africa will be removed from the red list shortly.
Africa's most industrialized economy is desperate to welcome visitors. The country has administered over 16 million vaccines. A big chunk of the country's tourists come from the UK. The World Travel and Tourism Council said the continued placement of South Africa on the red list by London could spell more disaster for the economy, which has already lost millions of jobs. Others argue that the UK's approach could hurt bilateral trade and economic relations. South Africa has declared the third wave of the coronavirus over and lifted most restrictions.
South Africa believes in diplomacy, and in diplomacy you don't do a tit for tat. And it also, you need to check the economic size of countries that you deal with. So the UK is not it's not smaller than us. So before you take any other drastic action of tit for tat, you really need to consider the economic implication of the decision.
Virus trends in South Africa will inform the next review of UK border measures, which will take place within a fortnight. This week, South Africa's national carrier restarted flights as the country doubles down on efforts to restart the economy. Congolese President Felix Tshisekedi has called for a frank judicial inquiry into reports of sexual violence committed by World Health Organization agents during the response to the Ebola epidemic in the country. Tshisekedi's call comes after the WHO released a devastating report on Tuesday saying that 21 of its employees committed sexual violence against dozens of people during Ebola response work between 2018 and 2020. The inquiry identified 83 alleged perpetrators, 21 of whom were WHO employees. The head of the WHO has since apologized to the victims and vowed severe consequences to those responsible.
Mesdames et messieurs,
delegates from Libya's rival governments held 2 days of talks in Rabat, Morocco's capital, Friday, which wrapped up without an agreement on a contested electoral law. The legislation is needed to serve as a legal framework for the general elections slated for December 24th. The consultations took place in conditions of understanding and consensus between the partners of a single country. And we thank the Moroccan side, as well as members of the UN delegation who participated in this meeting. The country's transitional government has been constrained by the lack of agreement on the electoral bill and the presence of foreign fighters. To this end, we call on the international community to support the electoral process in Libya on the basis of consensus on laws and the outcomes of the Libyan Political Dialogue Forum and to guarantee to respect the results by providing international observers. Libya descended into chaos following the ouster and death of longtime ruler Muammar Gaddafi in a Western-backed uprising in 2011. In Nairobi's Dandora slum, sanitation workers often find abandoned fetuses in the neighborhood's garbage dump. Campaigners say it is evidence of Kenya's abortion problem, which society refuses to acknowledge due to deeply entrenched cultural and religious beliefs.
The type of community that we are living in, most of the people are, let me say, religious. So they will condemn you if they know that you had an abortion. They'll criminalize you.
More than a year after Susan aborted a pregnancy resulting from a gang rape, the church-going mother of four still batters intense guilt. Abortion is a bad thing. Killing an innocent child is a terrible thing. Once you've done it, you fall in the same category as a murderer. If it's possible for one to get help on bringing up the baby, then abortion should not be an option. It's a crime.
Abortion is crime.
Dr. Samson Otiago specializes in reproductive health. Dozens of women visit his Nairobi clinic every month, and most won't willingly say they want to terminate a pregnancy.
Abortion services should not be an isolated service. It should be a service that should be integrated to all other services that are being provided. And by doing so, they will reduce the number of people who are dying or getting complication out of unsafe abortions.
Kenya's constitution eased access to abortions in 2010, but fear and disapproval run deep. Campaigners estimate that 7 women and girls die every day in the East African country due to unsafe abortions.